Welcome back everybody. In this one, we're going to talk about cinematic look. So in the last one, we have added our cameras and animated them, but we're going to make the cinematic effect even more by adding in some support lights and light blockers. And we're also going to talk about squeeze factor for camera, which are going to give us a better depth of field that looks like a film shot. And we're also going to talk about spawnable objects as well. So let's get into Unreal Engine here. Now this is what we have worked on. Now we can move this to about where our shots is going to end. So if you click on this right here, we can loop. Once it ends, it starts from the beginning again. So that's what you can do, and we'll set our out range to where our camera shot ends. So let's see if this is actually by the end. Not really, so we need to pull this back like that. All right, now let's go into our the last shot first, because this is going to display a lot more about our cinematic look. First of all, let's talk about our squeeze factor. It is basically squeezing down our camera a little bit more so that we have a wider view, but then if we just push it forward, it will have longer depth of field, longer bokeh from the depth of field and the camera. So what we can do is we can scroll down until we see squeeze factor. I might be blind. I can't. Oh, there it is. Squeeze factor, and changes to 2. Now this is making the shot a little bit wider, so we can go into our focal length and we can change this to about 50, and I think that looks quite good. And the depth of field is quite nice as well, and this is looking quite good. Let's go to this button over here and turn off show stats so we don't see this red icon on top. And that is looking quite good, but I want to add a bit more lights to this. So let's put our sequence into our Camera sequence folder, and in lighting, we're going to put our support lights into lighting as well. So let's put down probably a spotlight and see how this looks. So let's bring this up like this and rotate this around just like that. Rotate this, place it around here. As you can see, this is affecting our cross, some of the leaves, and that is quite nice. And we can change the color to something the sun would have, so around yellow or orange, kind of like that. And we can change our attenuation radius so that it's only affecting certain parts of the symbol over there. So that is quite good. Right now, even on these shots, it is affecting. But let's see if we turn off this light. Does it look better? It might look a little bit better. So what we can do here is we can put this spotlight into our sequencer, and we can change this to spawnable. Spawnable objects, they only exist once we open the sequencer itself. It won't exist on your level. So let's say if we close this level, we do have spotlight right now. Let's say we save our sequencer and let's close it. Now the spotlight doesn't exist anymore. Now if you want to open the sequence again, you just click on this and then sequence, and now you'll see this spotlight available for us to play with again. So this is how we're going to use for some of the assets or some of the lights, so that we can make sure we can art direct when they should be in a shot or when they shouldn't be. So right here, if you click the down arrow, we have spawned and not spawned checkbox over here. Let's go to the start of this camera cut, which is around here. This, I'll click it to spawn, and then let's move this to the other frame, and let's untick this and then keyframe this. So it will only spawn, but right now I think it overwrote my keyframe, so I want to move this around here, and then the start of this frame, I'm going to spawn this again and keyframe this. So right now the light is on. Right now the light is off and on. Now we can go through other shots as well. I think we added a light for this, but does it look good with the first shot? I think it doesn't matter too much, so let's actually check. I think it looks even better with this light, so we're gonna leave it. And these shots look okay. This one looks alright as well. I don't think we need any other lights for this one. So for this one, let's go to our camera 2. Now let's go back to our squeeze factor. Let's change it to 2. And then let's change our focal length to about 75. And let's see how this looks. Looks good. Let's change our camera 3 as well. Change our squeeze factor to 2 again, and our focal length to 75. See how this looks. You can see this bokeh, they're like in the movies, like they are a little bit longer, as you can see around here, instead of the regular circle. So if I were to change this to the squeeze factor to 1 again, you'll see the difference. Now these are rounded depth of field bokeh, but if we change this to 2, now you'll see they are more elongated, like in films. That is exactly what we need, and we can even make this more apparent by changing our camera aperture to maybe 1.4. Let's go find our exposure level. Let's tone it down a bit, just like that. Now we need to make sure our focus is also right, so let's desearch this, and then focus settings, draw debug, and then we have this over here. Let's make sure that it's focusing on the right thing. So right now this looks really good, like the depth of field is actually pretty good to me. I think it might be a little too close, so maybe we can move it back a little. Move it down a little, just like that. As for the end frame, here, let's move it back. Down a little, just like that. Wait, why did I move this? Now I think that looks pretty good. So for this one, we're going to change our settings as well. So let's go to here, and what aperture we have set to 1.8. Maybe we can, yeah, 1.8 seems fine actually. Control Z, and let's change our squeeze factor again. You don't necessarily have to do this with all of the shot, but maybe I don't really need to change this as much. So let's leave it at 1. And then what I want to do is, this is too bright right now, so I want to tone down the brightness just a tad, just like that. And for our first shot, we don't really need squeeze factor because not everything is in the depth of field range. So I think that looks all right. Let's check our camera settings for camera 1 again, just in case. So we have our aperture set to 1.8. We can even set this to 2.8. We'll make it a little bit darker. So let's go to our exposure, because we want this to be focused on most of the stuff in the scene. This is like our establishing shot. So maybe 10.9. I think that looks all right. So let's view our cinematic from the beginning. So let's go to the start. Let's play this. Just realized that something moved around here. So I think it is in camera 3. There are 2 keyframes right now, so let's delete the first one, and then that should be good. So let's view this from the start again to make sure there are no problems. So now I think this is looking quite good, but I want to give you a small exercise to do. For the next one, we're going to be rendering our shots to image files so that we can import in DaVinci later on to color grade it and make it our final piece. So right now, if you found anything that you don't like, feel free to move around. And I also realized that in the first shot, once we go up here, some of the assets are missing around here because we haven't really added anything over there. So try to add those according to your style or according to what you like, and you can fix certain things like some leaves clipping through around here as well. You can fix those. Now that you have all the skills to do these yourself, I won't be guiding you through this, but in the next one, we're going to talk about rendering. So I'll see you in the next part.